Alright guys, welcome back to a lovely day at this YouTube channel. Want to talk about again, yesterday, the day before yesterday, we talked about getting our steps together, the consequences of sin, this, that, and the third, and these are things that are more obvious and less of a aha moment for many people, whether you're young, old, middle-aged, and you're trying to end some type of return behavior, whether it's physical, emotional, eating, gossiping, sexual, whatever your thing is. Oh shit. And I will say, in a preference to this thing I struggled with the most was obvious to what it was in the last video. The thing about how to defeat certain sins is I think you have to surrender to the fact that, like, kind of like the Apostle Paul was talking, like, you have a thorn in your side that will last forever. It does not mean the whole body is corrupt, that you are corrupt, but that whatever you have is a permanent, is a sort of almost like you could call it, essentially what it would be called like a permanent disability you have in your side forever. Whether that's anything I just mentioned, drinking, drugs, fornication, whatever your thing is that's not allowing your life to be the best it could be. It's like, okay, I kind of messed with it, but it's not that big a deal. Yet it grows and grows and grows. So how do we change that? Well, last night I realized, two things actually I realized in the last couple of days. One, I think I'm going to have to put this in the job I have. It's working as like a dishwasher at a popular restaurant in the city that I live in. And while I love it and it's great and the money is pretty good, the money's not great, but it's okay. Why it's a problem is because it's just too many like beautiful women there, and I already got caught like looking at one, and I was like, oh shit, this is awkward. The first day, last like hour, and I'm like, oh man, I thought I'd be able to handle this. Looks like I couldn't. So, and then nothing crazy happened, but it's just like you realize, even though maybe you're on the upside is you tell yourself you have good intentions, but in your subconscious you know that the real reason why you took that job or that position or moved into that neighborhood is because you secretly wanted to probably fulfill that addiction you had, and you're just like, well, this is a safe way to do so. And the reason why it's not is because addiction always will tend to grow. It always wants more. It's never satisfied. It's like a bottomless pit. And before you know it, you go from looking to talking to more and more and more until you're engaged in something that is either a platonic relationship or something that is more so of a harassment environment. For example, when I walked into the restaurant, the first day I saw was some poster that said forceful sexual acts discrimination. Basically, it's saying like if someone forced themselves upon you in any type of way, here's how you would sue them, and here's what we would like you to do. The very first thing I saw, not anything else really. Well, actually, no. I spoke to the manager and I saw the food and I saw the colors and all that stuff. But that was one of the things I saw when I started my shift. So when you go from a typical food connoisseur, you don't see that stuff. When you get in the kitchen area, you see all these things that are available to the staff, which is very important, because if you know the history of waitresses and waiting tables, it's not a very nice environment. It's full of creepy, crazy, and catastrophic situations. So kudos to them, kudos to that. I hope people get what they deserve. I hope people get the compensation that they deserve and the healing that they so desperately need from working in the type of environment. I worked at one job where this guy was harassing my ex-girlfriend, and I think he maybe still worked there, and she had quit. She wrote about it on Facebook. It was fucking crazy. I never confronted the guy because I never got a chance, because I had by the time I quit, I had forgotten that guy was even there. So, fucking for him, I guess. But, matter of fact, did I remember? I may even remember, but me and her had broken up, so I was like, I don't know. Had I been dating her, I mean, that guy could have been, who knows. So it's very, when you engage with people, and I don't think they even had sex, I think he was trying to flirt, but you have to understand, like, when you're a boss, the power dynamic, or even not even a boss, like, most males don't consider the fact that they are able to do 100 push-ups at 19 without any prerequisite, without any pre-work, without any pre-workout, without any sort of type of assistance. Just naturally able to do so. Naturally able to play a sport for hours on end. Many young men join the service because it's like, what else am I going to do? I can naturally do this physical activity for hours on end. And what's weird about, what's kind of strange about that is, compared to your other gender counterparts, they may need a break. They may need to take a rest. They may need to stop, not because of any weakness, but because of just certain physiological and biological factors that are too vast and deep to explain in a brief YouTube channel. So, when you consider that, and you consider, let me date a coworker, let me be in Boston, talk to one of my proteges, or date one of my underlings. The reason why that's so inappropriate is not just because, you're a boss that's a senior, you're a boss that's a junior executive, that's a power dynamic thing. You are intimidating. If someone says no to you, what does that mean? If you're a boss and you're an underling, that could be loss of the job, that could be loss of hours, loss of wages, loss of dental plans for their kids. And if you don't get your teeth fixed, you could die. So, like, that's what they think about a lot, because they're so vulnerable. Like, for example, there tends to be a higher population of homeless men than are women, not just because women are better at budgeting, and they just have a more spiritual life that is full of consistency. No, it's because one thing, I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know. I'm just guessing. So I don't want to. I know I'm putting ideas in your head. You're going crazy. Like, wow, is that the truth? But it's like some, women that are in struggling situations might go back to abusive men. Sadly enough, and in those situations, women can die or experience terrible acts of abuse. But at least they'll say, at least I'm not homeless. Because in some women's mind, if they are homeless, they are then susceptible to, I guess, assault and whatever goes bump in the middle of the night that they have not trained to deal with. Right? Like, I can grow a beard, bench press 100 pounds, and I might be scared to fight, but I am capable of self-defense. Whereas, and that's not, and also beyond the fact that I'm just a male, I also have a societal leverage of pressure if I'm not seen as physically assertive, if I'm not seen as physically gifted, if I'm not seen as physically curious about, can I take this person or not? Regardless of what I look like, it's more so look from the neck down, and you could see like, maybe this guy could take me on, or maybe not. And that will deter how people treat you. Unfortunately, it may deter how others treat you, how you are to be treated, how people even subconsciously think of you, or how you subconsciously think about yourself. So that is an advantage that comes with a ongoing pressure, the same pressure that some genders feel if they don't feel as though they're beautiful. They might feel as though they might get overlooked in a promotion, or that they might not close a sale, or they might not find the partner of their imaginatory dreams, or something of that nature. So anyway, like, that's why, for example, when it comes to just housing, there is such a probably higher demand, or not even higher demand, a higher. I mean, you can look at things like the welfare state of the '80s, where I think it was set, or the '60s, where it was like people made movies about it, where if women had multiple children by men, it was less about love and it was more about strategy, because the more children you had, the more money you would make, especially during that time of racism, or just sexism, where if you just couldn't get a job as a woman, at least the government would pay you to take care of your kids at home, whether there was a man in the house or not. Preferably not a man in the house. I don't know why that was, but that is also another thing too. I can go on and on and on, but I just want to touch on like basic, like, I'm trying to find the right stories to tell you to inspire you not to go down the addictive rabbit hole, which primarily for me was lust. Lust is very tangible. It makes sense in a world of stress. Right now, you see we're in downtown in the city, and there's people walking back and forth. There's people looking at me as I talk basically to myself, and it's always some type of stress in any situation. Like, I just left work. They asked me to leave at a certain time and stay, then to leave. The stress will I lose my job if I left early, but I really didn't. So, right, and for me, someone like me with my biology, my genetics, and my past, that might make me want to go and solve that in a lustful situation, right? Maybe go on a date, maybe go self-regulate sexually, masturbatorily, or something of that nature. The reason why that's so negative is not just for the act in and of itself, because TV shows a false reality where if you pleasure yourself sexually, then there's no type of consequence. There's several movies like that, including American Pie and various others, which show like a California, Miami, New York, middle of America lifestyle dream, where Stanford is, if anyone can be there, if you can be kooky, you're not like a genius, multi-level talented person to even be at the poorest house in these neighborhoods, to have these wild experiences where nobody gets their feelings hurt and nobody is upset with anybody, except for like frivolous things. The only thing you have to worry about is getting laid. That's what certain American shows show. So not only their own population, which keeps them running a certain wheel of, if I just make enough, if I just do enough, I'll be able to go to that neighborhood, go to that party, go find that experience, and then my life will be worth something, and I'll get my reward at the end. Right. And there's no mention of, if there is a mention of God or Jesus, it's more so like a tradition rather than, like the everyday trying to talk to God to figure what the fuck you're doing in life. And then, yeah, that's it. And I could list you the many problems that come with lust, but you can just look them up. The many problems of alcoholism, you can look it up. The many problems of lust and violence, but you can look it up. You can always imagine some sort of issue with your inability to regulate what you desire. However, what you cannot imagine is what is the karmic consequence of you not going into self-indulgence. So what does that mean? That might mean, okay, so I know that guys like, if I lie a lot, what is the consequence of lying and lying and lying? I might end up like, I forgot so many fucking people, but like the Big Bad Wolf, the Three Little Pigs, or some shit, or actually not Rothstein, but one of the guys who did that big scam in the 2000 and got caught in 2008, some Jewish investor guy who did the Ponzi scheme thing, and he basically lied his way to the top. At least this is what he told the police, and he has no money or something, whatever. So I don't even know if that was true. So whatever, you'll never know because it's so many lies. You'll never know. But yeah, like that's a consequence of constant lying. You lie as a child, and then it gets all the way to the top, and now you're owed $80 billion in lies, and it's like, oh, your life is ruined, or it's like, oh, well, you have to go to jail, and you know, he got more time in jail than people that kill people. Why? Because he played with people's money and people's ability to live that fun life I talked about, where it's like Hakuna Matata, and there's no STDs, there's no worries. We know from Epstein what happens when you don't stop that lust addiction and turn it into something else. It goes to you having guru and you doing God knows what. It's like a 5 million pages that I refuse to read, just like how I refuse to read like Mein Kampf because I don't want to lose my mind. So even mentioning like some of the stuff that I heard on the Epstein thing made people like physically sick. So I don't want to do that to you to make you lose your mind. So I'm just gonna say, look up whatever you want to look up at your own free will, but be very careful. Your mind is very sensitive, which is why you should watch things like pornography and extreme violence, because your mind is very susceptible to thinking that happens every single second of the day in every single sector that you're not looking in, and that's not true. Many people are actually normal, and they get paid a lot of money to make sure that things are normal, like security in this city. They'll walk by here several times. I'm in front of a bank. They'll make sure that everything is normal. They get paid a lot of money to do that because shit does hit the fan and things go left, as we see on the news. So do with that what you will. But I want to give another thing of like what happens, right? Because I thought I was always a normal guy, just maybe porn, had a good time, but it always turned left. It always had to go to the next level. Not realizing it or not realizing how weird that was, because I was stressed out. I was working. I was doing my thing. I always had a job. I was working out. I was hanging with the boys, and I was always until always got me in a heap of trouble and a heap of oh shit. So what this goal is to make sure you don't get into oh shit, and you get into rather another view, which is I'm glad I stopped while I was ahead. Or if you are behind, I'm glad I didn't keep going. Right, in my last video, I talked about the guy that killed his girlfriend or whatever, David. He killed that underage teenager girl I guess he was dating. At a certain level, if you get caught doing that, that's very bad, but it's also worse if you kill the person. Because now that's separate charges. It's like assault and battery. It's not one charge, it's assault and battery. It's like two separate instances. They charge you twice. Well, I think so. Correct me in the comments so that I'm not lying to you. But you see what I mean, right? So in order for us to get past this issue, which for me is lust, I just want to say, what's the benefits? Like why even try to give a fuck? Besides the obvious of I get to stay out of trouble. I get to keep my money to myself because I ain't got to go on dates. I get to not get into arguments, not be jealous. I'm saying the word not a lot, and your brain doesn't, okay, it's already not having anything. Like if you're not having sex, you're already not experiencing what I'm just saying. Here's another benefit. Because I am free of a girlfriend or a spouse or even the responsibility of my kids, if I have any, which I don't know and I've tried to figure out and I just never know because women in my life just have not reached back out to me or tried to make it happen, which is fair, and I'm not mad at them because I was not a great partner and I was also not a probably responsible parent. But when I say responsible, like I wouldn't pay bills, like I wouldn't help out. I wasn't ever consistent. So it is what it is. I give everybody love and life, and I wish everyone the best. But so besides the guilt I feel as to not being able to see, the family that I want, there is also the gift of I have the freedom to talk to you about this, right? If you are constantly going from work to family, you don't get a chance to reflectively sit down with yourself and see where you're fucking up at. Like today, I had one of my beautiful coworkers. I was thinking about asking her out one day, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that because that's, hey, she's Asian, she's black. I don't want to make it weird, racism, whatever. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to like bring it up. It's cool. So today she kind of like, not in a way I would say is flirtatious. She's not like that at all. She's my boss. She's very professional in everything she does. But she kind of like, gives you some love taps on the shoulder, like, oh, you so funny, But that's, and I have to say that not so that I'm putting dirt on her name and all this stuff, so that I don't lose my mind and make a story in my head bigger than what it is. Like I made some type of joke, and I even use an Asian accent, like, oh yeah, I do that. Not to be a dick, but it's like, I don't know, I just started doing that out of nowhere, and they responded well to it. So I'm like, maybe that's what people want, is for you to sound like them. I hope I'm not being racist. I hope I don't get fired. But, because I need this fucking job. But anyway, so yeah, man, like that's one of the things of like, the benefit of I don't have these responsibilities. Not the fact that I'm running away from them. It's that I've never been asked to like I asked one girl that I think maybe me and her had a kid. The kid I helped her with her car, and I said, "What's wrong with the car specifically?" She said, "Oh, basically, it got fixed." So she just wanted some money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, I ain't got it. I wish I did. I would have sent the shit without a problem. But I can't give what I really don't have. And also, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks when and that's the thing about addiction. You don't treat people like people. It's like a transaction. It's like, I need my hit, I need my fix. Okay, we're good. See you the next time I need a hit or a fix, which might be tomorrow at 2 a.m. at my convenience. All right, great. And they actually might need from you, because honestly, let's be honest, bros ain't slinging 7 inches. I mean, they're not looking for a lustful moment with you. Their mind says that, but they want more so, especially if it's like a male-female relationship or it's a more traditional relationship. I'm not saying male-female is traditional, but if it's like a stronger male and a weaker woman, or whatever gender you choose, they might be looking to you for strength, and you might be looking to them for stability. Because even though your spouse might be weaker than you, somehow they are able to raise children even with government assistance, and it's all right, or at least it's what it appears. Whereas you, maybe single male who lives at home with a mother, you're able to be in the world and nothing will happen to you. Therefore, because nothing is happening to me, I can allow someone to come into my space and say, oh, what are you doing? You're filming a podcast. I want to be a part of it. I've had women ask me questions about different shit before. It's great, but it's like, and that's not about podcasts. It's like, I've been hanging out in public, and then women were flirting with me, and they wanted to get my number just because I was a single guy with a collared shirt, and they thought that was attractive. So, I mean, do with that what you will, but don't use it as an abusive thing, because another thing, the mind of your partners is different. When I say the mind, it's a like there are children that are smarter than me, that are like 15 years old, that are geniuses. But because of how long I've lived my life, I know that being arrogantly smart is actually not a great thing. It actually proves to people that you lack certain social skills and you're susceptible to social maneuvers tricks, like that of prostitutes. Like Candace Owens was like, hey, don't really divulge into pornography because it's a blackmail operation. And that went over a lot of people's heads when she said that, and I'm summarizing my words, and she didn't say that word for word, but that's why I took it out of that context. But when you hear that type of thing, people don't understand, like I had one guy tell me, I used to work with him, we were working like construction, and he said something to the effect of like, oh man, all the people in the sex industry, they're all clean of STDs. And I was like, that's not true at all. No, actually, people get burnt, like, probably quite often. Actually, if you look it up, there are famous cases of guys having to go to jail for lying on their tests, saying that they are, clean. They are not clean. And, they're just not. It's not that I would say people are responsible. It's an impulsive industry. And so because the industry itself is so impulsive or rewards impulsivity, even though let's say a shoot, I'm not even sure. I think shoots can take place in like a day. It's not like, oh yeah, we're filming in a month. We're filming in 3 months. Nah, sometimes motherfuckers get filmed like, we need you that night. And it's like, all right, good. And they go make a couple dollars, and I think the guys don't make any money, like $200-300, and the women make most of the money because they are just, I think from this one producer, so they're seen as more attractive and susceptible to beauty and certain standards. But I mean, that's I think those are his words or her words, not mine. I forgot who said it, so I don't want to paraphrase and be incorrect. But it's just like the downfall of your addiction is like you are constantly thinking about your addiction, nothing else. Yet your addiction is not thinking about you. Your addiction is like is the will of your body, and spiritually, your body will not go with you. Right? Like even in famous, there's so many from the Bible. I can't paraphrase this enough, but do you think if you're in heaven and you have a limp leg and a bad back, that God would allow you to have a bad back in heaven? That if you were blind for your entire life, that when you get to heaven, you will continue to be blind. You've never seen colors, or you've been deaf and blind, like so many people. But like the very, very unfortunate, like if you've been a good Christian your whole life, that he'll be like, you know what, since you've been blind and deaf, continue that way, my son. Like, no, he'll give you your sight and make you like, and make you a functional person, right? If you continue to do his thing and whatever. So let me see what I did last night. So went back home last night. I started to mess around. I started to lose sexual sobriety, and I was like, okay, I gotta change this before I completely lose it. Because I lost it before in the past. I had a couple of days of sobriety, a couple of weeks of sobriety, and I lost it. And I was like, damn it. And I was like, why am I losing this? And it's like, well, because I'm just sitting here waiting for this feeling to go away, that it's convulsing over my whole body. I'm waiting for it to leave. And that's not how that works, right? If you are, let's say, someone that is dealing heavily in something like addiction, it's hard to wait for the cravings to stop. Not because you're weak, but because your body is weak. Your will is strong because you're even attempting. It's not the guy who loses the fight that's weak. It's the guy who doesn't try that people say is weak. He's too scared to get hit. And I wouldn't even say in a context that you're weak. It's that your mind is highly controlling your survival behavior, because your mind and your body are more connected than your spirit. Like, I can operate on your mind. I can cut out your brain and somehow you might still live. I can cut out your heart and somehow you might still live off of life support. I can cut off your arms and your legs and you might still live. But there's no such thing as this thing about, I can, like people say, I broke his spirit. Yeah, his body lived, but it's almost like you're in a zombie state. And that's what happens when, you deal with drugs, alcohol, or any type of addiction, lust. Instead of you living a more fulfilling life, you live a life that's basically living out of, when can I get my next hit? I remember going, having girls, let's say girls, women, hit me up, and like I would hit them up and hang out with them, and I wouldn't think about my mom, right? And that's like, I'm not thinking about my mom in a sexual way, but I mean, I wasn't thinking about like my mother, like the fact that I hadn't visited her in months, and we only lived like 10 minutes away from each other. I was knee deep in this the addiction, party, college lifestyle process. And now, me and my mom have a better relationship, but it's like, I'm sure she remembers me not visiting her. I'm sure, and it's sad because when I think about that, it makes me, have feelings of self-hate, but also it makes me realize I don't know what I have to do, but I have to do something that at least I want to show her that I love her at the end. You know, I think we all live this sort of life where we're proving, yes, get God's approval above all other people's approval. But I think also, are we doing things and we're also disregarding other words of the Bible at the same time? I think sometimes we regard some commandments more than others, and then we maybe, because it sounds like I'm saying something bad, so I have to be very careful with my words. But it's like, I watched the guy on YouTube talk about to follow God's will, and of course it's the right answer. But also, can we follow God's will and give mom a birthday card, and have a steak and dinner with mom, or soup, or even a hug, or ask her how she's doing? Really, how can I help as a son? Can we ask these things? Can we ask to spend time with our kids? Can we ask to spend time with the dog, and do God's will, and free the Jews and free the kids? You know, all this other shit. Can these things be possible? I just, it's funny because when you're in this addictive lifestyle, like, I say like college, but it's not true, but like just in lust, just in your whatever addictive thing you're into, you realize days go by, months go by, even years go by, where it's not that you don't care for others, it's the fact that you don't even care for yourself. Because if you had any type of care for yourself, you would say, why am I not calling my parents? Why am I only calling someone who can give something to me? And that's not a loss of value on you necessarily, but what will happen is, you know, it's really funny too, like with the whole college thing. Once,
how much?
Huh?
That's how much?
Huh?
That's how much?
No, I'm actually making a podcast. Have a good day. I'm sorry. But once you realize, I forgot what I was saying. Dang. Oh Lord. But once you realize, basically, like the time that you lost in chasing whatever you're chasing, or like more essentially, in like the world of, let's say, college, where you're living the best life, you're eating out every day, you get to college 15, hanging out, you're dating different people at the same time, and then after that is done, like I remember hanging out with some of my friends in the college area, and I'd already dropped out, but then I had some other friends who had graduated, and then everyone just moved away, or they went back home, or, you know, I realize now, I think some of them didn't even really have, you know, if they were partying with us, some of them didn't really have stable employment after college, which was the real, like 1 to 2 goals of college, which is really to find your partner and to get a job based off your profession or passion that you have selected, right? But what happens is, a lot of the time, it's like imagine a farmer trying to get rich off of selling cherries on Sundays in the dead of winter when everyone needs potatoes, right? Or whatever the Bible says about that, refer to that more, because that's a terrible allegory. But I mean, it's kind of true in the way of, like, you go there for one thing, or for me it was like to get the fuck out of my mom's house, and you leave there in debt, you know, giving people Plan Bs like they're M&Ms, you know, begging for Plan Bs, crying about stuff. Oh, I don't want to have kids. Oh, fuck up. And it's like so selfish that, you know, it's not just the fact that, okay, you are selfish, it's the fact that I don't think we realize, like, a lot of the times in the college thing, why you're really there. Like, I heard someone say that, like, a lot of the times college was like for the aristocrats, where like you study something for the sake of studying it, not for the sake of having a job, right? And so many people, especially people not the 1%, need a job. So even if your parents make $200,000 a year plus, they might be living check to check, or month to month, or quarter to quarter, where they hope they have a really good quarter, whatever they're doing. So if they don't, cars go away, electronics go away, subscriptions go away, and it's not the end of the world, but it's more so like it's more so you feel like a poor person even in a rich man's house because you cannot live like other rich men. So how do I say, like, in order to topple that, it's like, oh, you have to be responsible, set goals, and I have something better than that. It's like, dude, follow Jesus, dog. And I say that because that's the only thing I did not do. I went to meetings, I went to the service, I worked out, I got a lot of girlfriends, I hung out with buddies who were in fraternities, I went to parties, I tried to network, I did everything I could do except Jesus. And when you say do Jesus, I don't even really know what that means, but I really do. It's asking what Jesus wants, having the patience to sit there and think, what does he want? Trying to hear the voice of God, which will probably sound like, you know, your inner subconscious, like what you really need to be doing. And then trying to go pursue that and do that against all odds and however else people say it and whatever. I'm too scared to do that right now, but I know for a fact it's like right now I'm downtown and I'm in front of this building that I used to work at. I've worked there for a week and a half. It was an easy job. However, I was there, and yes, I believe in God, and I was trying my best, and, you know, I was praying to God, but still had, you know, the lust problem. Still was masturbating in the bathroom. I ended up one night, man, I was so tired that I just ended up walking. Like, I just got in my car and went home. They fired me the next day because I didn't get approval to leave early. Why would I walk out early? Because my coworker kept talking to me. And he was a nice guy, and I could have just said, hey, man, you know, you mind if I just have some silence to myself? I couldn't do any of that, but someone told me not to get the job anyway, or maybe I don't fucking know. But it's like, it just sucks because, you know, you take something away from every place you work at that you're at, but after a while, if you've had so many positions, so many opportunities, so many chances, and you keep failing them, you start to feel like, okay, God, what's the point in even having a job? Like, what's the point? Why not just be homeless? Like, what are we doing? Like, why am I even trying to be a person if I'm not even capable of success? Why even try? Like who am I performing for? At this point, I should be fucking, you know, like this is crazy, right? So, you know, it just sucks because, you know, besides the fact that, you know, oh, we work hard, but you know what? I could go on about my problems, but really it's more like we're all in this thing called life together, and really, I'd say I could give you advice about waking up early, sleep, cold plunge, vitamins. I've done all that to a certain extent, and to a certain extent, none of it has worked. Not that it doesn't work for certain people. That might be what God is trying to tell you. But to me, it feels like sometimes God is just saying, like, go be in the woods, go be homeless, go live in a tent, go live on the beach, and go find my will, and go live in a monastery, and do all this stuff that I was doing in Charleston. But it's like, when I tried to do it, I got scared, and I lied, said I wasn't this guy that I was, and I left, and I just couldn't handle it, right? But just because, oh shit, sorry about that. But just because I can't handle something doesn't mean that you can't handle something, right? Just because one person can't do something doesn't mean you can't do something. Just because, and when I say something, I don't mean something sinful, like, oh, I can go have 3 girlfriends. You can't. That's another thing too about being young. You look at people who are succeeding in ill-gotten gains or in more sinful ways, and you say, oh, well, if he's succeeding, that must mean that it's okay to do. because that makes logical sense. One of the things that says in the Bible is this famous king said, I almost became susceptible to sin until I saw the ends of the wicked, like how their days actually end. Dog, I'm telling you, I have sinned. I have been wicked. It's not good days. It's not. You'll get a job that you... It's not that you hate it. It's the fact that it is so physically demanding because it's like the only thing you have left at this point. You're making podcasts downtown. You look crazy. I think my boss is about to show up right now. It's just craziness. But with that being said, I could sit there and then go back into the addiction and say, well, nothing's ever get better. Or I might be able to say, okay, so what I've done so far has not worked in my favor. Even though it was great intentions, hard work, sacrifices, blood, sweat, and tears, all that, literally, and I still end up on a fucking bench, right? Right, okay. So, I could do two things. I could go back to the addiction, because I tried and I failed, and I feel bad about myself. Or I could go in this opposite direction that says, well, right now, you're in sobriety. You're doing your courses, you're working out. It's not a great job, but you have a job. It's not a great life, but you have a life. They're not great friends, but you have friends. It's not a great spouse, but at least somebody likes you or loves you. So you take that and say, how do we make this better, God? Ask God, what is your plan for my life? And if you're afraid, like I'm afraid, ask God, I know you don't want delayed faith, but could you show me in baby steps? Which I know is not faith, but at least it's asking. Because the more you communicate with God, which I never did, I never prayed, I never asked God for anything because I believed I could do it all. I just had that type of, I thought it was confidence, but it's actually now, in hindsight, arrogance. Because if I was successful, I would be talking on top of a penthouse with two women beside me, she knows. God knows what on OnlyFans right now. Living in Italy, living my best life. In fucking France, doing it big. In fucking Uganda, doing it big. Asia, fucking Australia, whatever, right? Doing it big. And not in some downtown city with some nappy hair and, you know, some bad jokes. But we live and we learn. And also learn from my example that, you know, substituting one addiction for another does not cure you either. Like, okay, going from lust to food is not like, oh, you're better now. You can still get diabetes and end up dead. With lust, you can end up dead too because you can get yourself killed, or you can do something harmful to others that will make others have to take you out. So it's like it's a constant fight, but it's not your fight either. Like, I did not ask God to make me born. If I asked to be born, it's like, okay, it's my responsibility. I asked to be here. I prayed in the womb of my daddy's sexual organs to be made. Maybe I did, and I can't remember, but I doubt it. Because I had a lot of brothers and sisters who also wanted to be there. So, I mean, hey, shit happens, right? But it's something to the point of, like, people in the other spiritual aspects call this manifesting. I don't know who they're speaking to when they are basically praying, but it's not to Jesus or God, but they'll say, I manifested this. I manifested that. But they didn't manifest their problems though, so I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? But they manifested their life. They basically spoke their life into existence, and that life was given to them. That is called praying. That is called constant praying. That is called asking and asking and asking. And there's two things that people get confused of, and I did too, where God says, you know, do not pray like the others do and repeat the tongues. Where it's like basically like you're praying, but I think it's like you pray, but you don't really care. You're just saying the words. Like, you don't really give a shit. You don't really want this to happen. You're just like, I gotta pray because I gotta look good in front of my aunt at church. I gotta look good in front of the girls, and I gotta make my male friends at church know that I'm about it and I love God and whatever. And that's not great. because you could actually ask for a better life, or you could ask for a better situation, and it might happen. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, when I had the security job that I had, it was cool. Problem was the hours, problem was this guy talking too much. And now I'm at this other job where it's better hours. Maybe I could go to, and I've done this before and I'll fail again, try to go to school during the day, during after work, and you have a more stable lifestyle where you're getting, and also too adding mental health and adding physical fitness like self-defense, which is what I always wanted. But, and it's not like it's impossible to have. All these things are possible, right? The only problem is, I'd say, is one is patience, which I have little of. Two is really surrendering to the will of God. Like, basically, it's like risking to be homeless or die to fulfill God's will, because that's the only thing you want in your life. Am I at that point? No. And I hope I'm not suffering, and I am suffering because of that, unnecessarily. Like, I almost quit my job today. I was so stressed out. I was like, I can't do this. This hurts my body so much. Yet, I kept going, and by the end of the day, I was done, thank God. But, I mean, literally, man. Oh, man, I gotta stretch it back out. Oh, I worked so hard today. But, you know, as we conclude this video, man, it's gone on for 46 fucking minutes. I really want you to get into a sort of a rhythm, sort of a way of life of, you know, and I'm still, right now, being creepy. You know, man, I'm so fucked up, and God help me, but I mean, at least I fucking know it. It's something that I want you to think about as far as, you know, two things. It's like I mentioned earlier about the dishwasher job that I'm probably gonna have to quit. It's not the fact that God can't change me. It's what thorns is he keeping in my side to make me humble. Because if I had no thorns, like if I had no problems, I would not have to surrender to God, because I'd have no problems. If I wanted to sleep with someone, I'd sleep with someone. There'd be no problems. But there'd be no, not even the word problems. I want to be more accurate. There'd be no responsibility to that person. If I, even a prostitute, you have to treat nice and take on a date once in a while if you know her long enough, or him long enough. You gotta remind them that they're a person, so that all is good. But which I highly recommend you don't do, because that type of lifestyle invites, of course they call it demons, but also various forms of disease, not just mental health illnesses, but physical diseases that will also manifest into mental health diseases, like syphilis, HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia. Like, you can lose your mind if you go untreated, or if you don't have the money to treat these illnesses, that you can, like, some maybe go blind, who knows, right? Become schizophrenic. So, you know, even though, like, oh man, you know, I'm in that life, but you know, I treat everybody right. I'm a Christian. It's like, fam, you're paying someone to give you their everything, their last bit of privacy. You're paying for that, less than the value of probably $200, right? So, I mean, really consider the fact that you're not helping this person out. If you want to help this person out, you would give them the money for free. But things are conditional. You have needs, which you confuse one need, affection, with another desire, which is sexual. And it's okay. Well, not really okay, but it's logical. But when you think about spiritual, what is the after effect of doing or engaging in that type of behavior? It's like, well, like I said, STDs, gonorrhea, chlamydia. The fact that you could have kids with somebody and you don't know if that kid is your kid. The fact that you can catch something. The fact that you can wake up and then someone has a weapon in your face because they had a dream that you cheated on them and something of that nature. So it's like, it's something that you are when you're involved in this type of frivolous sexual lifestyle, you're putting yourself in more of a harm's way than you think of. Like, you don't know that people will stalk people to their death to sleep with them. You don't know that people will look up their kids or grandkids and go to their schools to see if you're there. Like, you don't want to get involved in that lifestyle, because that lifestyle is not just about pleasure, it's about dominance. It's about people with money being able to pay someone else to experience dominating an entire person for a certain amount of time, if not forever, which is also called human trafficking or slavery or sex slavery. It's about to rain too, so I should probably hurry the fuck up. But yeah, man, I just really want y'all, man, like, bruh, the basic thing is not just stop jerking off. That's easy. Because your brain can stop doing something. The hard part is, like, and I'll end it with this. Like, last night, I had a craving, sexual craving, and I ended up taking a walk for like 2 hours. Right, 2-hour walk. And I got some shoes for the crib for my mom, for the house, and I got some type of food or some shit. And basically, I ended up. I don't know if I successfully beat my addiction, because there was a little bit of sticky situation that I was like, oh well, I'm not. I can't lie and say I was 100% perfect. I cannot lie. What I can say is that instead of choosing to just not be considerate, or instead of choosing to just go with my feelings, I try to go with more of a principle of like, hey, I just said I was gonna stick to this, and I'm gonna stick to it. And another reason why you should stick to celibacy to a certain extent, unless you're married or something like that, or you're going through something, is besides the benefits of money and being able to hear God's will more clearly, it is just the fact of, like, you will find a way to stay out of trouble. Like, you'll find a way. Like last night, I went on a walk, and I was able to go to the store and saw. Also, too, because I woke up and walked, I was able to get up earlier and get on the bus and be at work on time. So even though I took a long ass time getting shit done at work, at least I was there early, as opposed to I get there whenever the fuck I feel like it, and it's like, that's not it, fam. You can't be bad at your job and be late. You got to choose one. Either be good at your job and show up a little bit late, or be shitty at your job and show up at the crack of dawn because they know you're going to take a while. Amen. So that's more advice I have for you. But really, the advice you should get is from your Bible, from your preacher, from your pastor, from your pulpit, from people that are at least, even if they're not living the truth, they are showing you an example of the truth. And you'll find the truth even around that orbit. Or you'll hear about it, like, oh yeah, Pastor Jenkins isn't coming anymore because they're all fake. And, he goes to the library and reads to the squirrels. God will always give you some type of dumb, not dumb shit. I shouldn't be talking about God like that, but God will give you these people in your life. And these people will say, like all the dumb shit I said today and yesterday, but they'll say some dumb shit, and then you will get a blessing from a casual conversation, a casual thing you heard in the office, something casual you heard while watching this video. You saw someone that maybe you knew, and you was like, oh, they're in this city. Oh, I should really go check the city out because I do want to go. This is my sign. Like something of that nature. But also check with God, people next to you. And if you take a chance, take a chance. But you can take a lot of chances as long as you are being responsible for those you are morally and legally and spiritually obligated to be responsible for, then you're good. Like when I was homeless, there was no. I don't regret doing that, but God forbid if my mom needed something, I didn't have the funds to help her. You realize why certain people get involved in certain factors of life, which I'll make another video about that next, about certain astrologies and Masons and Illuminatis, because it's logic. It's based off of logic that you would sell your soul to a higher being for a better life. But I'll tell you why not to do that, and the consequences of doing that in the next video. So until we meet again, guys, love you so much. Thanks. Next time, have a great day. Like, share, and subscribe. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.